What up, friends? I'm Geoff Fienberg back here with you doing more PGA Tour content for oddschecker.com/US off that Tom Kim victory last week. Seemed very popular. We had that Sepp Straka playoff loss the week before. Jordan Spieth top points in the President's Cup before that. So we are feeling good about these golf picks right now. And smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Goes a long way into supporting me. The PGA Tour takes its act on the road this week. We head to Japan. It is a course we are very familiar with, or somewhat familiar with, Narashino Country Club. We've been here a few times. We saw Tiger win here, that great win in 19. We've seen Cantley here win here, and actually, I don't know, that could have been at Sherwood. And Hideki Matsuyama, certainly at this location last year. We were on that for oddschecker.com/US. Let's hope we can get back into the winner's circle in Japan again this year. Very interesting golf course. Unlike most we ever see on the PGA Tour rotation. Length, very short, par 70, under 7,100 yards. Very interesting layout. Some of the greens, you know, they have their winter greens and summer greens in Japan. I believe only, I believe on one or two of the holes we'll even be using different greens on different days. Very fascinating. And one of the more fascinating elements of this golf course, we have 10 par fours, but none of them range from like 425 yards to 485 yards. So we either have these incredibly short scoreable par fours, or these very long, difficult par fours, certainly making for a very interesting week. As many of the players who've been here before have noted, stay in that fairway. You have pretty much no chance of controlling your ball if you are out of that fairway. So balls in the fairway, greens in regulation, that does seem to be the key. Loading up the odds checker grid here, friends. It is our friend Xander Schauffele at the very top, a high water mark number at FanDuel of plus 850, sort of like in needing to cash that Tom Kim ticket last week. You felt at some point you're going to have to stare down Cantley. Sort of that same vibe about Schauffele this week, obviously at a different golf course, but he's had great success in Japan, winning that gold medal. The Zoysia grass here, which is much like East Lake. It's a type of grass we don't see very much on the PGA Tour. Xander loves East Lake. Xander loves very much his Asian heritage. This isn't going to be a hit and giggle for Xander. I believe he takes it very seriously, so I very much do fear him, but unbettable for me at that price. Maybe a little more bettable, still thinking about it, would be a Colin Morikawa at 16-1. Everything you sort of talk about and read through when looking up this course just screams a perfect Colin Morikawa layout. 16-1 over at BetMGM is the biggest number that I'm seeing on Morikawa. Hideki to defend at 16 as well. I'd rather Morikawa. My decision at the top has come between Morikawa and Viktor Hovland, keeping that ball in the fairway. Exceptional iron play. Maybe I could find myself betting both of them, but I'm going to take that 21-1 over at FanDuel, getting 5 more points with Hovland over Morikawa to start that card for me. Hovland, as we know, like another guy I'm going to talk about in a moment who I've got money on this week, has yet to win on mainland USA. All this wins worldwide. This would be another perfect opportunity to add to that for me. Hovland 21-1 over at FanDuel. Not many options in the 20s, as Tyrrell Hatton coming in at 27-1 and Corey Connors at 28-1 are the only other two bodies in the 20s. Listen, if the legend of Tom Kim wants to continue this week, and you know, Asian Tour star, he'll have certainly tons of familiarity with every sort of you know, the course conditions out in Japan this week. I mean, he became a rock star after the President's Cup, and he followed that up with a win in his first event, essentially. So anything feels possible, but to piggyback these would be incredible. I'd be here for the story. You can't buy the magic. Tom Kim is the magic. Okay, nice young player, won on Live this week. Great future, great potential. Just doesn't feel like there's any magic with it. Weird. I'll be talking Live Golf with Joe Idoni at Tour Picks later in the week. Keep an eye for it. If you subscribe to the OC feed, it'll be in there. Mention my first bet of the week, Viktor Hovland. Piggybacking that one up with Tommy Fleetwood. When looking at this odds checker grid, I've got Fleetwood 35-1 over at DraftKings, as low as 22-1 at at Bet365 here. So the market, much like a lot of golfers that we'll discuss, undecided on what that price point is. We're going to make sure we find that high number. We're going to do it over at Odds Checker. We're going to make that wager. Tommy Fleetwood 35-1 over at DraftKings. Fleetwood, like Hovland, mainland of USA, a lot of close calls, never lifted a trophy. Rest of the world seems to have no problem lifting them all over the place. Fleetwood just took some R&R, and, you know, his mom passed, and he took some rest and relaxation through the FedEx Cup playoffs, decided not to play in that, though he was certainly safely qualified. And we saw him sort of show back up on the European Tour with some excellent results. And that engine is riding. We're going to keep that ball in the fairway. We're going to attack pins. Tommy Fleetwood 35-1 in Japan seems like a really nice number. And like I said, we're catching that high water number over at DraftKings in this range. Again, good. I think this field is outstanding. Congratulations to Zozo for bringing over such an outstanding field for this event this week. Has me believing good players win golf tournaments. That outlier of Mackenzie Hughes in a weak field at the Sanderson, I'm not going to read too much into that. I see a lot of good players. I'm going to bet the good players. That being said, north of 40, there are a few names I do have my eyes on this week. Tom Hoge, par 70, under 7,100 yards, like check. Those are the types of courses you absolutely love to bet a guy like Tom Hoge at. He is in form as well. Will I get there on Hoge? Not too sure. Mito Pereira, seeing signs of life from him. We have also two Hoagies, 28-1. DraftKings 40-1, 28-1 at some other places. So again, get a bet on Tom Hoge. Make sure you catch that big number. Other discrepancies, Mito Pereira, I'm seeing a 45-1 enhanced win over at Bet365. Other shops throwing out 28s on Mito Pereira. Mito, man, that was a struggle bus for a long time out of the PGA Championship. Took him a while to find much of anything, but we are seeing life again in Mito. Got the great little track record in Japan golf as well. This seems like a real fair number to maybe step in front of Mito here. A guy that I almost picked last week did not, showed incredible signs throughout that tournament that he could be back. So this one seems right. 45-1 over at Bet365. You'll find that enhanced number, 42-1 over at FanDuel, the highest number on the grid. Keeping it going, though, with guys that I do not mind in this range. Sepp Straka, 50-1 over at DraftKings, as low as 35-1 over at Bet365. I believe Sepp was 60-1 this morning. We lost in a playoff with Sepp a week ago. That form continues. You're wondering, would that Sepp form continue through the FedEx Cup? Well, it certainly continued at the Sanderson. Tough loss for us Sepp backers as he lost to Mac Hughes there in that playoffs. I didn't hedge. If you did, you probably feel better about it, but I'm really thinking about getting back on the Sepp wagon this week, because when he's in form with those irons, it can get unconscious, and we are seeing it going a little farther back. Emiliano Grillo, 66-1. 66-1, coming in as low as 50-1 on the grid. The number on some books keeps getting bigger for Emilio as his form continues to be outstanding. Do we trust him to win? Do you trust him to win? Do I trust him to win? I don't know. I haven't made the bet yet, but I'm staring at it. The form since John Deere has been outstanding. It has been some of the, if I say it's like some of the best of his career, you might like mock his career, but truly the numbers have been phenomenal for Mito, for Emiliano for months now, And this number is almost bigger than it should be for the form he's playing on what this course asks of these guys. Really considering Emiliano trigger this week, 66-1. Going farther down the board, I have pulled the trigger. Kurt Kitayama, 80-1 on that odds checker grid. Seems to be a consensus number. Everything we've spoken about, iron play, accuracy off the tee. If anybody from the back of the pack is going to nibble this one this week, in my opinion, it is Kurt Kitayama. If you want some names north of 100, Aaron Rai at 100. I mean, I like Kitayama more, but maybe you could say there's some similarities and you can find those extra points at the 100. I'm going with Kitayama. I've seen Luke List 100, 110-1 over at Bet365. Luke List is 60-1 at FanDuel. Now, there's a lot that goes into trusting Luke List to win a golf tournament, but if you're going to do it, you take that 100-1 and not the 60 over at FanDuel. Okay? Let's just make sure we do that. That's pretty crazy. That being said, a lot of what this place asks for, I do not mind Luke List one bit. One bit. If you're saying, Fienberg, give me a winner, 100-1 plus, my answer would probably be Luke List. Haven't made that bet yet. Don't even know if I will. The bets that I have made, Victor Hovland, 21-1. Tommy Fleetwood, 35-1. Kurt Kitayama, 80-1. As I mentioned, the options that could end up on the card, if I really want to expose myself in Japan, maybe it is a 4-man card and we add Morikawa, or maybe I take a couple more names and it comes from that Hoagie, Mito, Sepp, Emiliano range we discussed. That is me talking Japan. I'll be back later in the week talking live golf. I am Geoff Fienberg. Smash that like button, leave a comment, tell me who you think is going to win the Zozo this week. We'll be back all season long. Odds checker, football season, baseball playoffs, hockey starting, basketball starting. Oddschecker.com/US has you covered, allows you to find the best number available to you on the bets you want to make. For Geoff Fienberg, that's me. I'm out.